I'd be happy to answer questions at the end of this live. So today we're going to be talking about whether people really pay high end for coaching. You might already be charging high end, but you have some doubts about whether it's scalable, whether you can actually sell high end consistently and predictably and actually create a company and grow your business. So that's what I want to talk to you about today. And I'm going to give you actually some tactics that are really loving and ethical, and how to deal with objections on your calls when you get the money objection. So let me just turn down this music. Okay, cool. So, and if you're listening to the replay, please tell me replay. Today I feel like, it is summer in San Diego, and so I'm dressed as such, and I kind of feel like I'm going to Burning Man right now, but I'm not going to Burning Man. I have never actually been to Burning Man, even though I've traveled and lived all over the world and totally hung out with all the hippie, hip people, but I've never gone to Burning Man. And hello, love. Glad you're here. And yeah, but today I kind of feel like I'm preparing. Every year I say that I might go, and then like as it gets closer, I don't really feel a pull to go. Like I'm going to hang out in the desert for a couple weeks. Doesn't really jazz me up, but I don't know, maybe someday I will, you know? All right. So I'm going to find my notes here. All right, Tara Malarkey, let's dive in. How to sell high end with heart. And if you have any doubts in your mind about whether people are buying high end right now, high end coaching, high end transformational packages, that's what we're talking about today. Let's like dispel some of the myths that we have going on, some of the doubts that we have going on about whether people are actually making money doing this. Because the problem is, if it's not working for you, you take that reality, like your reality, as the reality. And I have done this before myself, and then I just assume that nobody, you know, is successful, and there's a fault in the industry, and there's a problem, and there's not actually. This industry is growing to 2.4 billion in the next 2 years. And so it's growing exponentially. And if there's any time that you've been doubting whether your work is needed, it's now, right? We see environmental issues. We see, you know, humanity, division and separation, and we are so needed. So whether you feel like your work directly correlates to that issue, it does, because you are really here with heart. You're here with purpose. You're here with mission. You're here with a sacred frequency that is here to elevate the planet. And so it is so needed. All right. So that's one way to start to dispel this doubt that you might have whether people are paying it, you know, and a lot of that may come from your own money mindset, your own beliefs in your own money, whether you can invest at that level right now. And that is one of the key things to look at. If you're asking people to pay a certain amount to you and you have never paid that, or you cannot pay that now, it's highly unlikely that someone's going to pay you at that level, right? So it's really good to just get in integrity there and start to look at whatever beliefs you have around money and investing. And like I said in a post this week, you know, if there's any resentment you have over a program you've taken before and that maybe it didn't serve you, or you had a bad relationship with the coach, or, you know, any of that stuff, you know, that's the stuff to heal right now. Anywhere victim consciousness is showing up in your vibration, that's the stuff to clean up. Okay, we have to, as we grow into $1 million frequencies, being millionaires on this planet, radical responsibility for every single area of our life, in our relationships, and with our business and our money and the decisions we've made. So we have to clean that stuff up. Very, very, very important. So this goes to what I talked about on Tuesday. And if you haven't listened to that live, go back and listen to it. How to clean up the funky feelings you might have around money. How comfortable are you with spending money? How much money do you have coming in as opposed to going out? Do you find yourself constantly in this place where you have a lot of expenses, but you don't have a lot coming in? And that just shows me that you don't spend enough time and focus and discipline taking action toward receiving money. And that usually comes from, a lot of times what we're talking about in here are these inherent deep wounds that we're carrying around worthiness and deservedness. We also have murky, funky feelings around our relationship with our own inner masculine. And so we're over here kind of ridding the planet of the patriarchy and, denouncing toxic masculinity. And that's all good and absolutely. And at the same time, we can't throw out our own masculinity, okay? We just can't, because that is part of us owning our financial sovereignty. And then the other thing I talked about is why you're connecting with potentially people that tell you they don't have the money, or broke prospects over and over and over again. They might have mental health stuff. They might be on disability. They might be on unemployment. They might have a sickness, or they really have a lot of unhealed trauma, which makes them not in a position to invest at a high level with you. So there is a certain way in terms of marketing, which I covered in the first live earlier this week, that if you are receiving this, one, it has to do with your vibrational frequency and what your thoughts are around money, how much you're spending on your own personal development. And two, it has to do with actually how you're marketing. Because if you are attracting only people who don't have money, then there's something in your marketing, in your copywriting, in the way that you're talking about what you're doing, that is attracting a certain audience. So what we go to do in High Ticket Empress, what I teach you inside the modules, and when I review your materials in the accelerator, if you're a part of that, you know that we're looking at how we can match the perfect offer with the perfect audience. And this really matters, guys. We can't just be here, as women going like, oh my God, I want to just share this information and not look at the market and not look at that, at what are people needing, what are people buying, because that is part of business, right? And so, and we don't want to not listen to what we know we came here to do. But if we are 100% just totally not wanting to listen to what people are asking of us, what they want, what they're buying currently, then we're actually more committed to failing than we are to succeeding. And that is really, really, really important to start to look at. So what I want to talk about today is how to handle the money objection. I'm just going to give you a couple of tips. We go into this obviously much deeper in High Ticket Empress. And I'm going to talk about one sales tactic. Everyone has an aversion to that word, including myself. But one sales tactic that you should be using with your prospects that is ethical and loving. So, and if you're asking any questions right now, just know that I'll get back to it at the end. I'm just going to stream right now, and then I'll come back to any questions. So how to handle the money objection on your enrollment calls. So one of the things you want to do, and I talked about this on Tuesday, is you want to focus in your sale and your marketing, right? In your system that brings people to you to have a call with you. This is really important. This is really important for you to develop a system that gives you inbound people who want to talk to you, and how you curate how they know you and how they know what you do before they get on the call with you. And so this is what we're talking about when we talk about preventing objections. Most objections can be prevented in your marketing beforehand. And that's what we go to do, is help you develop a system that takes someone from cold, literally never knowing you before, to potentially becoming a high-end client within 48 hours, or they might know you a bit and they just need a system to go through to get to know you and what you do. And then they need just a conversation with you, but essentially they've already decided that they want to work with you. So you want to prevent objections, okay? And so just go back and look at whatever you have going on right now. Are you answering questions, and are you really letting people know that you're the expert, positioning yourself as the solution to their problem, and giving them a lot of confidence that they will get results with you? Because people don't buy coaching, they buy results. People don't buy coaching programs, they buy results. That's the only reason that they will drop, you know, thousands of dollars, is because they have a pain and they need to get out of that pain, okay? So the other thing here is to develop the ability to handle objections. The first thing on the phone, the first thing I want to talk to you about here is that you need to have radical confidence in yourself, a deep belief of worthiness and deservedness, and you really need to develop that within, because you need to have the capacity to hold space for someone else's doubts. So if you're doubtful and you're not sure of yourself, and you're not sure of your program, and you're not sure if this person should buy it, and you really don't like to be pushy and salesy, right? And you don't like to ask questions, and you're just not sure, how do you think that you hold space for someone else's inevitable questions and doubts as they're about to make a big decision to invest with you? So the number one thing here is, if you're not able to show up as a leader, right? And this is more of the masculine energy. You know, even if you're talking to a man, you need to still command a certain level, not 100%, of a masculine leadership energy on the call. Because this person needs to trust you. And they also need to know that you are going to be able to coach them through the hard times, through the times that they have doubts, through the times that they don't follow through, because one of the things that they're buying is accountability, through the times that they want to procrastinate. And so if they feel on the phone that at the first walk, that they don't, they're not sure that you're okay, then they don't have any actual trust that you're going to be able to hold them through the moments where that's inevitably going to come up when you're working together. So this isn't about being pushy, and it's not about being salesy, and it's not about adding pressure to someone and making them buy something. Absolutely not. This is totally unethical and absolutely not what we stand for in feminine sales. But feminine power is about our intuition and our knowing, our queen-like confidence. And then holding that space for someone is such a gift. Because when you hold that space, they're able to rise into that space. And that may mean asking tough questions that make them feel uncomfortable. And that may mean asking them to think about something in a different way than they've been thinking about it. So your capacity is really important here to handle objections. So ask yourself right now, how do you feel right now about your ability to hold the space for the inevitable objections and questions and doubts that this person might have about working with you? And if you feel like even in your everyday life, you shy away from people having questions or doubts or making them feel uncomfortable, if you're a people pleaser, right, then likely you're not showing up as a strong leader on these calls, and likely this person doesn't feel it. And that's the really important thing to understand about money objections. It's usually not about the money. People know how to get the money, okay? People can get resourceful, and you can actually call them into getting resourceful when they feel like they don't have the money. But most of the time, people do have access to money. They know where to borrow it. They might even have it sitting in their bank account, or they have credit, but they're not sure if they want to spend it with you. Right? This is the key. They're not actually sure that they want to part with this money. And that's because perhaps you haven't given them the feeling that this is it. All right? And so money objections really is that. It really is that. It's so important for you to understand it's about your belief and your confidence and your ability to hold space. Your ability to hold space for someone else's doubt. All right? So let me look here what else I want to talk about here. I have a couple other things to say on money objections. So one of the great questions to ask if you get to the end and you make your offer and someone says, oh, that's too much for me, I don't have that money. The one thing you want to understand before you move forward is if they are a yes, if money was no issue. If money wasn't the question, are they a yes? Because that's what you want to feel from them. You want to know that they're like, oh my God, this is for me. And I am so disappointed that right now I feel like I cannot do this. If you feel that from them, then you know that money really is the thing that they need to figure out. Okay? If not, if it's like, yeah, but I'm also not sure like how the program works and how much support I'm going to get and really what I'm going to get at the end, then you know it's great. It's a great thing. Take it as a great thing because it's giving you feedback where you have the opportunity to, communicate better in your marketing. These people should know these things before they come to the call with you, right? And if they don't know it before they come to the call with you, they should know it by the time that you're talking about the offer. And if they don't, there's a reason for that. And so that just take it as really great feedback for you. Okay? The other thing you want to ask them really is to help them understand what it's costing them to stay where they are. And, sometimes it's not a direct correlation to money, right? So for a lot of you, you're selling health, you're selling relationship, intimacy, feeling better in your body, wellness, emotional, the way out of emotional pain, things like that. And so you really need to be intimate yourself with what it costs someone to stay exactly where they are, and then help them really understand that in that conversation. Really help them understand that, like, wow. Because we all want to ignore this, right? If you're the person that's talking to you, most people really just want to put a Band-Aid on. They're on the phone with you because they realize there might be a bigger issue and they really should do something bigger about it, but they'd really love there to be a Band-Aid solution to it, right? All of us do. We want an easier solution. We want to look the other way. We want to keep hoping and praying and thinking that tomorrow it's going to be different. And so that's important. That's the piece that you really want them to get on your call, that's not going to happen. And that's why so many women shy away from this, because we feel like it's really negative to help someone understand that, their like knight in shining armor is not going to come along, or that, one day the weight's not going to just fall off, or the pain isn't just going to go away, or their bank account isn't just going to increase if they don't do something different. But this is important, and it's a gift for someone, because that's when, in 4 weeks, in 8 weeks, in 12 weeks, in 30 days, in 90 days, someone's life can radically change. And so you want to help them understand what the cost is, the emotional cost, the financial cost, the relationship cost, the health, the physical health cost of them staying where they are. And perhaps if you keep getting no's, and I can guarantee you it's not always because of the money. So right now, even if you think that these people are telling you they don't have any money at all, if you keep getting that objection, it's not that. So it really is that, thank you, Corinne, it really is that you may not have quantified, the result and then held the capacity for them to step into it. So that's what we work on in our programs. And this really is a skill you can learn. This really is a skill you can learn. You do not have to be naturally good at sales, but to be financially free, girl, you have to be good at sales. And so we want to teach you. It's really important, okay? And it's such a great awareness to come to that if you keep getting no's, you know, it can be changed. It's not because you're just attracting the wrong people. Yeah, there's different things that you can do in your marketing and the way you show up on the call that will radically change it. I think you guys have probably read the story just recently of one of my clients currently. She's been coaching for a long time and she hadn't booked another client. Like, she's already selling high end. She hadn't booked a client since April. And as soon as I held a very powerful space for her on our enrollment call, and right after that, she started booking all of her client calls because I was able to hold this space for her that showed her the example of how she wanted to rock up. We then went to work on healing the wounds that was having her act more like a people pleaser and like a nice person. And the clients were just not stepping in. And as soon as she started rocking up differently, they started stepping in differently. So, all right, so let me move on to the tactic that I want to share with you. So a lot of people have differences of opinions on this, and I totally understand why. And we definitely are not around masculine, like, or bro marketing, toxic masculine, fool someone into buying something, and then like, who cares if they're miserable? Like, no. However, I will say that there is a psychology to sales, and that is that most people find it really hard to make decisions around parting with big amounts of money. And it takes an incentive for them to jump in. And it's almost like they already knew they wanted to jump in, right? They're just scared. This is the reality. So we get to hold and reward them for taking action. And that's what I want to help you understand today. What is a reward that you can share with your client on the phone that would give them the incentive to jump in with you today? Now, I'll give you an example of some things that we've done and what we recommend with our clients. There's a couple of options, but one thing to remember though is that if you do give an incentive, like a fast action bonus, which is what we usually do, then you want to make sure that you will absolutely give a refund if for some reason in 24 hours or even 48 hours that this person is like, oh my God, I was like on another planet. I don't even know. I don't even remember how that happened. Absolutely not. I'm not in. Okay. And this has never happened to us, actually. So we've done fast action bonuses. I always guarantee if they regret it for some reason, you know, if the person is really not sure, I'm like, if you regret it, you just send me an email, I'll refund your money. I don't want your money unless you want me to have your money and you're getting results from my program, right? So it's never happened. And so the people, they come in, and because they've jumped in, they've decided within themselves, even though they're scared, and they start going. And so if, like, without it though, and I got off the phone with them, this is why we still do advocate for trying to bring someone to a decision on the call. This isn't about being pushy again. This isn't about being greedy. This isn't about like not caring where this person is, but I believe if someone's on the call with you, they have gotten to a point where they really want to make change. And so giving them a bonus to take action on the phone is a really great thing. And then if they regret it later, you know, you will give them a refund. And I think that that's really important. That's really ethical, and that needs to be there. The problem with going, like, giving your offer and then being like, okay, great, I'll think about it. Thank you so much, is that most of the time you'll never hear back from them. And it's not because they don't want to work with you. It's just that they haven't been given the push or the kick in the you know what to take the scary action, because it is scary to be like, here's $8,000, you know, here's $5,000, here's $25,000, right? You have to believe in yourself. The person who's spending that money has to be like, I am fucking doing this. I don't care. I am doing this, because it's all about them, really. You're just holding space for their own transformation. You're going to lead them, but it's all about them. And so if someone's coming to you and they have a big problem that they've been in for a while, likely they haven't had that mindset, like, I'm doing this, right? So you bring them there on the phone and you want to keep them there, and you want to give them an opportunity to like leverage that really high feeling that they're in right now. And this is why some people call it manipulation, right? Because you do bring them to a certain state on the phone, and then you want to leverage that state so they jump in. But this is how transformation works, right? You make a decision in a high state, you get something done, you get results, and then, oh, you might come back down after, but like, because you've already decided to jump in, you're like, okay, well, I guess I'm going to go ahead and do it. So I think it's a beautiful gift to someone. Again, having to be in total integrity, and like, you cannot feel that you're pushing someone, or that you're, you know, like they really can't even make payments on their house or something, and then you're taking that money, like none of that stuff, right? It's really just giving them a bonus. So here are some of the options. One is you can, you know, have a certain price on your program, and then you can give them a discount of $1,000, $2,000, or $3,000 for jumping in with you on the phone. Okay, and so that your normal price is X, but on the phone today, you'll give them a fast action bonus of $2,000 off if they jump in with you today. And the other thing you can do, if you don't want to do the money thing, is you can throw in a bonus, something else. So you can throw in another program that you might have, another course that you might have, in-person VIP day with you. You know, you can make it up, whatever you want, but it should be something that is like, whoa, they don't want to miss out on that, right? It can't be like, oh, I'll take it or leave it, I don't really care, because then they'll just say to you, oh, that's fine. I don't care if I don't have that. I'll just come back later when I think about it, you know? And then the final thing I want to say there is that we do give time to people who really absolutely need to think about it, but it is a 24-hour deadline. And so after that, the bonus goes away. And if they do want to come back, then they will, you know, they'll be paying a higher price. And so it's really important to be in integrity with that. If you say that that's what's happening, that's what needs to happen, okay? You can't just like, you know, float and, you know, dangle these carrots in front of someone and not actually stick to it, because that's totally out of integrity. I also, just final thing I want to say on that is, if you're talking about scarcity, like we only have these many spots left or XYZ, just be in integrity with that stuff. You know, don't lie about that. You know, figure out something that really feels good for you, and stick to it, and stick to it for everyone. We have had a couple of people who were a yes to the program, didn't say yes right away. We were giving a fast action bonus of money, and they came back like 2 weeks later and they paid the full amount, and we stick to it. You know, and because that is an integrity for everyone. I can't say on our calls, or the sales team can't say, well, it's this much, but today it's this much. And, you know, if you make the decision today or tomorrow, and then, you know, someone comes back 2 weeks later and we still give them the discounted price, like that's not cool. So just be in integrity there. And so great. Thank you so much, everyone. I think that's all the content I have, and I will open it up for questions right now. If you have any questions on money objections, I know we had a question, so I'm going to go back and look at that here on my laptop. There's so much I can say on sales. I love this topic so much, and there's really just so much that I can talk about, but we'll keep it like kind of simple today, just because I want you guys to get quite a bit out of it. I'm just loading up the questions here. I know that there was a couple of questions earlier. Of course, like, is it gonna be easy for me to find this? No. Any questions? Any questions while I look for the questions that were here before? Okay, got it. Question about High Ticket Empress. Does it include a group, and or are you reviewing our offer? So in the high ticket Empress Digital program, we have a monthly live group coaching call that we offer as a bonus. And that is given by myself or one of the coaches on my team. And that's really to hold space for whatever questions might come up. And there's also a Facebook group. But as it relates to that, I do not coach. I don't look at your offer personally. I don't look at any of your stuff in the digital program. And in the accelerator, which is the next step up, that's when you get to work with me directly. There is a small group of women in that program, and you get private Voxer access to me. And I look at all of your material. So that's the accelerator, which is the higher end program. So hopefully that answers your question. Any other questions on sales if people are buying high ticket programs? I had I think it's in my office right now, but I had I'm working on a new webinar right now. You bet. And I have some cool new stats of, one thing that I just want to say is the reality is that 1% of the coaches in the industry are making above $100,000 a year. And pretty much the rest are barely making between $2,000 and $6,000 per month. So, this is really radical, right? And it's almost like it's a reflection of the macro economy, where we have the 1% who make most of the money in the world and hold most of the wealth, while so many of us don't. And so what is the difference? And so how can we really distribute this differently? And how can you get a piece of this? And how can we be a lot more balanced in the coaching and personal development industry, where it's not that, just 1% of the coaches are really leading the market and making most of the money. And what I feel really strongly about right now is that so many men are really, leading the industry right now. And again, nothing against men. It's just that we need to see more feminine leaders rise. Every event I go to, it's mostly men on stage, and they're the marketers, and they've just kind of taken over the coaching industry, the personal development industry, because they learned how to market really well. And so we need to get a piece of this and, bring the balance in. We can be in our feminine and really bring the gifts we have as the divine feminine into the world. And we really need to have the marketing skills in order to do that as well. We cannot ignore this. I talk and I hear this from the team as well. We talk with so many women who are like, oh, don't talk to me about funnels, and don't talk to me about ads, and don't talk to me about webinars. I just want to throw up. I really just want to do my work in the world. And the thing is, do your work in the world, but you're going to struggle if we don't set up automation and if you don't get really good at sales. This is a reality, and it's actually your soul pointing you to your sovereignty. These are skills that can be learned. You don't have to be naturally good at them. And then, sky's the limit. And like I said in the beginning, if there's ever a time that we're needed, it's now. Even if you don't think that your gifts are directly correlated to the burning Amazon, or the families being separated at the border, or, the racial divide, or anything else, it is. It so is. And without financial resources, girls, women, my sisters, we cannot do anything, right? We cannot do anything. So let's not collapse. Let us stay focused. And even though our hearts are hurting right now with what's happening on the planet, and keep your eye on the prize, and know that you're here for a reason. You came here for this. Okay. Lots of love. Bye.